or in this universe of Arthur Fleck. And it's like I said, it's such a good movie. It's a very very good character study movie that a lot of people are taking it for granted. This isn't a comic book movie. This isn't a Joker movie. I don't think it's a comic book movie. There is comic book characters in here, but it's not really a comic book movie. When you want to talk about a comic book movie, you get a comic book movie like, the Fantastic Four, the Dark Knight, Batman Begins, the Avengers. Those are comic book movies, and it has nothing to do with CG fights or anything like that, or these grand spectacle fights. No, it's telling a story, an origin story that might be the Joker, or he could not, not be the Joker. It just, it's all in his head. And that is why I have to give this movie a very, very high full price. A very high full price. Like I said, the way that Todd Phillips shot this movie with the camera work, the filters, the beautiful cinematography that I've never seen on this level before. Honestly, I've never seen. Like I said, the Gotham is wallowing in trash, and Todd Phillips made trash look like it was clean. There was beautiful camera work, beautiful camera work. But like I said, it's a very high full price movie. I didn't get into anything, like comic book wise, because I wanted to stay away from that, because this is not a comic book version of of the Joker, or Joker. This is a version of, like I said, it's a character study. It's not telling a version of the chaos, the clown and prince that we all know from the comics. It's telling a story about mental illness. How one bad day, or one bad week, one bad life can lead into somebody doing these horrific crimes. And that is where I actually love and come to conclusion that this is not, it's sense of, it has a good sense of reality, but it has a very good sense of delusional reality. That's where you get into, the schizophrenia. He's when he dances, not he's not dancing because he killed somebody. He's dancing because he doesn't know how to express his feelings. He doesn't know how to come down to reality. And that's where, he's talking to Murray Franklin, on the show and stuff like that. He's on the staircase dancing, thinking that he's actually, made a difference in Gotham. And that is why I really truly believe that this is a very high full price movie. Like I said, it's not something that you can shy away from and say, well, it's not like Heath Ledger. They weren't going for that. They were not going for that. We've had so many and countless actors and men that have played this role of Joker. Jack Nicholson, Cesar Romero, Heath Ledger. There's countless, Mark Hellman, from the animated series. One of the best voices of the Joker that I've ever heard. He plays, from the animated series all the way to the video games. It's a very big, it's a very big role that I don't think that anybody took lightly, it, especially for Heath Ledger. There was a lot of controversial discussions and everything. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this movie had a lot of baggage before it became released. Like a lot of baggage. Like Joker would not be able to board a plane of how much baggage that this movie had before wide release. And I don't understand why it was such a big deal for people to go out and see this movie. because they heard all about the violence and whatnot. If this was directed by any critical darling, from a critical aspect of the fans, and critics, obviously, if this was directed by anybody else, this movie would not have gotten the bashing that it did. It would not have gotten the bad reputation that it did before wide release. If I and I'm not saying his work is bad, but if I say like like Quentin Tarantino, his last movie that I seen, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, was it was his least violent. It was his least violent movie that he's made, but that was more violent than Joker. And I really really do not understand where that came from. I get that it was from the media, but where did the media get it from? Where did the media get the aspect that this was a very very violent movie, that no one should see it? No one, the media was saying, you're risking your lives to go out seeing this movie, but yet again, you have one of the most least violent movies from one of the most critical darlings of directors in human history. His least violent movie was more violent than Joker. So it's kind of like playing off that, like I said, that melancholy. It's really not there, but it is there. So it's really up there for interpretation, and it's really up there for you to have discussions with your friends, especially with comic book fans. And a lot of comic book fans didn't like this movie because it wasn't the Joker. Honestly, it was not telling about the Joker. It was not telling a story about the Joker. It was telling a story about mental illness. It was telling a story of how one person that has that mentality can have a one bad day, a one bad week, one bad month, a year, a life that can actually drive them into doing horrific crimes, and actually thinking in their own head that they made a difference into what they were trying to do, what they were trying to say. But all in all, it's like I said, it's a very, very high full price movie. I highly recommend you see this movie numerous times, as much as you can. I love this movie. Um, it's one of those movies that's in my top 10, top 5 if I have to put it in there. But other than that, if you have anything else that you guys want to talk about, any movie that you guys haven't seen or have seen that you want to talk about, or listen to anybody else discuss, leave a comment in the section and we will get that cleared away. There's going to be more videos posted, so hope to see you soon. Like I said, come subscribe to Film Nut, and we'll see you soon. Peace, everybody.